I think I got
Fantastic.
it anyway. 10.
Okay.
Okay, yep, we're good.
All
We,
right,
we
great.
we got it. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started then. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be, whatever time it is there. I'm really happy that you were able to join us this morning. Or my name is Vicki Seefeldt West, and I am the Associate Director for International Admissions at Ohio University in the United States. And I've been asked to share this presentation with you, and I'm really happy to be able to do that. Um, we're going to be talking about how to engage with colleges and university representatives, which is a very timely kind of a subject today, because that's exactly what you're here to do in the context of this WebiFair is meet with colleges and engage with them and get your questions answered and just learn how to show your interest, all of those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So why does it matter, in terms of being able to engage with the universities that you want to apply to? Well, it's something that can be really intimidating. But if you prepare yourself, you can really be ready and you get better at it as you go along as well. So this is something, you want to pay close attention to in terms of some of the tips and tricks that we're going to give you here this morning. One of the biggest things that I can emphasize is respect. When you're engaging with a university representative, do show them due amount of respect, because these are the people who are going to help you either get in or not get in to the university. And so you really want to show them the respect that they deserve. The other reason that you would want to engage with these university representatives is to show your interest, and make yourself stand out, because I work with both recruiting students as well as reading applications. And if I've been engaging with a student over the course of the time, well, they're putting their application together and their application hits my desk, I know who I'm looking at, and I've already formed a bit of a relationship. So these are things that are really important to be able to do that you might not necessarily think about during the application process, but it is something that you definitely want to consider. So, what are we talking about when we talk about engagement? We're not talking about something that has to be really formal, where you don't have to treat it like a job interview. It can be informal in some ways, but it also needs to sound professional, however you engage with them. You want to make sure that you come off sounding like an intelligent person that we would want to have you at our university. So make sure that you are connecting with us, through all the different channels that you can try. You can connect through emails. We have virtual campus visits. If you can do a real campus visit, we have social media platforms that are available. So there are a number of different ways that you can go about connecting with the people at the universities you're interested in. And I really recommend using a multiple platform approach to doing that. Because again, it shows you're paying attention and it shows that you really have a great interest. For you, engaging with universities, this does make a big difference for you, because it's going to help you figure out which of the universities is going to be the right fit for you. And it also will help you to, gain understanding of what they have to offer. It will help, like as I said, to show that you're serious. So it will benefit you in the long term in terms of when it comes time to read your application. Um, it's going to benefit me and my counterparts at their various universities, because we can see that you're genuinely interested in. So we're looking at very much a two-way street here. And in some cases, universities do track the interactions that they have with you. My university does. And so I can go back and look when I'm looking at your application and see how many different times we've communicated. How many times the university has communicated with you, and how many times you've reached out to the university. All of that is tracked. So again, showing your interest really can be to your benefit when it comes to engaging with universities. as I was saying earlier, different types of engagement, and slightly different approaches that you can use on those different types of engagement. If you're on social media, things are a little bit more laid back, a little bit less formal. Whereas if you're going to go and email a college representative, you want to make sure that, again, you are sounding professional. You don't want to sound like somebody else. I want to hear you and what you have to say. But, again, making sure that you're taking care with what you're writing. And we'll talk about email etiquette in just a moment. But there are all of these different possible ways that you can engage with a school. In fact, just to put in a plug, in terms of information sessions, there are lots of virtual information sessions that are offered by universities. I'm going to be doing one later today, as a matter of fact. So if you come to my booth after I'm done speaking here, I can give you a link to come join that if you want to. But so showing up at those so you can get good comprehensive information and ask questions about anything that you might not understand. Um, but I think for the students that I communicate with, probably the biggest ways are emails and social media, and particularly WhatsApp. Those tend to be the biggest areas that, and the easiest ways to communicate with the universities. So you want to just use what is most accessible to you. If you have access to WhatsApp, great. If you have access, to be able to send emails on a regular basis, do that. Take advantage of any of those virtual sessions, info sessions that you can attend, again, to get good information from the university directly. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit right now about email etiquette. One of the things I'm having a little. This is a very timely topic for me as well, because I've been answering lots and lots of emails recently. You want to make sure, first and foremost, that you write clearly so that we know what you're asking, and that you write respectfully. Even if something has gone awry with your application process, maybe your application hasn't moved through the process as quickly as you think it should. Um, Remember to treat any inquiry you make about that, as you're deferring to someone that you have respect for, because these are the people, as I said, who can make those decisions about whether or not you are going to get into your university. And I've been the recipient of some rather disrespectful emails in the past, and um, they stick with you. We don't forget that. So really put the emphasis on treating those university representatives with respect. And as I said, with email, it's going to be a little bit more formal. So you don't want to be using slang. You don't necessarily need to be using emojis. Save those for the social media platforms where they're a little bit more appropriate. But be clear and concise, and make sure that we are able to tell exactly what you're asking. Okay. Now, this is another area that also I really want to emphasize, is that when you are engaging, you want to be asking strong questions and deeper questions. And what that means is that you are going to have to do some homework on your own before you go and start asking questions. Because I would say the vast majority of the emails that I get asking questions could easily be answered if the student just looked at the website. So if you email me with one of those really basic questions, that doesn't impress me very much, because it doesn't sound like you're interested enough in the university to have done any homework and looked at what we have to offer. So, if you ask me about, the application deadline, or, what is required for the application process, which is all very prominent on our website, yes, I'll answer you. I will give you an answer to the questions that you ask. I may point you to the website so that you realize that you need to do a little bit of work on your own. But this is an opportunity for you to ask questions that it's information you wouldn't get off of a website. So, what is the student life like? What support services are there on campus for international students or students in general? And there may be times when we can also put you in touch with some of our current international students, and they can give you perspectives on their experiences. Now, of course, talking student to student, that's a little bit more informal. So you can kind of regulate how you want to, what kind of a tone you want to set, depending on who it is you're talking to. But of course, do talk respectfully to our current students as well. They are putting their time in as well to help you have a really good experience and help you understand what the universities are about as well. But bottom line, first do your research on the university, then come up with some questions and have some smart, deep questions to ask that aren't the usual. What is the cost of attendance? Something that you should easily be able to find for yourself. Now, if the website's not easy to, it doesn't make things easy to find, understandable. You can ask those things. You can say, I was not able to locate it on the website. That's fair enough. But again, we want to be answering things that are a little bit more impactful to you. And again, with respect, you can follow up. So if I respond to your email, or if we have a virtual event, if you were to come and attend my webinar this afternoon, following up with a thank you email, man, that would make a big difference in standing out in my mind. Because I'm like, I know not only did you show up, but you actually cared enough to listen and give feedback and tell me what was helpful. Mention something that you learned during the course of that webinar, during that event. Still can keep it short and sweet. It doesn't have to be, a long paragraph reiterating everything we told you during the event, but just let us know, give us an indication that it was helpful information and, what was learned from it. But again, polite and genuine. Genuine is another word that I really like to throw around a lot when I'm talking about engaging with university folks, because you do want to make sure that they're getting a picture of who you are. So while you are respectful and while you have a bit of a professional tone when you're working with them, do make sure it's your true voice that is coming through as well. And then with college fairs, which is where we are today. We're looking at a virtual fair. So hopefully before you started this morning, you'd spend a little time doing your homework and looking up universities and prepping some questions for them when you go to their booths. Do interact with us at the booths. If you just come to the booth and sit there silently and expect everything to come to you, that's not the best way to handle it. You can say hi. You can say it in the chat. The university representative may ask you to come on microphone. Be willing to, to go in and be engaged and be active, both in your listening and your engagement. And then again, after the fair, you'll have the contact information for the different university representatives. Follow up with a thank you note. It definitely does mean a lot, and it really does show your interest in the institution. Now, if you are able to come and make a campus visit, that is wonderful. But you also have a lot of virtual opportunities for campus visits as well. So that's something, you know, in the case where you're not able to make it to the campus, you really want to take the time to do one of those virtual tours because you want to get a feel for what the campus is like. Um, so, look around at everything. Our campus tour, our virtual campus tour, you can tour the whole campus, you can tour the residence halls, you can tour the different resources and facilities on campus. So if you're interested in a certain type of research, if you're in physics, maybe you want to go and look at the Edwards Particle Accelerator that you can use as a student on campus. So all of those kinds of things, really get active in that. Don't just, play around with it. See the things that are going to make a difference to you, and make note of things that you have questions about. Because again, if you come back to the school representative and have questions about the campus atmosphere, and that, and we can tell you've already done the virtual tour, again, you're really going to stand out from others. And with virtual fairs like today, you really, I'm just reiterating at this point, join into the webinars, WebiFairs, take part in the question and answer and online discussions. Do feel free to turn on your camera. And I, in fact, would encourage you to turn on your camera if you're able to, because it's awfully nice to talk to a person with a face as opposed to a screen. It makes you feel like you're having a real interaction, and again, sets you apart. But again, you also want to ask those thoughtful questions in, in the course of the WebiFair, whether you do that verbally or whether you do that in the chat. Hopefully, I will also be able to see that you have done some work already and know some of the information, and you're asking those deeper questions. So you want to make the most out of these opportunities. So do your homework first and then get in there and really engage with the representatives. And finally, just to wrap it up, we're coming to wrap it up a little bit. You want to keep your own social media respectful and real when you're staying online. There are some institutions that check students' public profiles and, to see what kinds of things you're interested in, to get a better feel for who you are. So keep it clean and, kind of a reflection. So it's a reflection of your personality, and that's accurate. You're accurately representing yourself and the things that you value. This is also a really important point for students who are applying to study in the United States right now, because the social media now is part of social media check is now part of the visa process. So you want to be careful about the things that you post. Make sure you're doing that in a very thoughtful manner. You're not disrespecting others. Try and stay away from controversial topics, probably, if you're looking at US right now. But make sure that you're keeping your eye on what you're doing there and being mindful about what you post. And don't ghost us. Please don't ghost us. If we have reached out to you, take the time to respond. If you have genuine interest in the institution, it can be, it can be a couple of lines. Don't just send one or two words. That doesn't come off as sounding respectful. That's pretty much as good as ghosting. But we send out different things like, happy birthday wishes and things like that. And when the student takes time to write back and say, thanks, I really appreciate it, that meant a lot. I know that they are paying attention to what they're getting from us. So that's really wonderful. Keep it real, keep it respectful. Do check your grammar as you're, getting ready to hit send. Make sure that you are writing complete sentences, that you are not misspelling words, things like that. So if this is something that also, you've got, kind of a stage fright about doing, you can do practice and role play a little bit. I'm wondering if there's anybody in the audience at this point who would like to role play um, with me about an interaction. If there is, you are welcome to raise your hand, and I can call on you. Or if not, that's okay. We're being shy now. I'll let you get your shyness out at the rest of the presentation. But just to share I can share some examples of emails with the group of what I've received. So most recently, I received an email from a student who said that they needed to have their decision made uh, as soon as possible because they had a visa appointment already, which they shouldn't really have without having all of their admission documents in hand, and was pretty much trying to pressure me into reading their getting their application processed faster than others. Um, that wasn't impressive to me. That it really disrespected me and the work that I do. And there are reasons that things take longer sometimes than you think they will. So that's where you want to be. I understand that these processes can be time consuming. I'm just checking in to see what the situation is regarding my application because I haven't seen any progress so far. That's fine. Great. That would be a great way to handle that. Juwiria, did you want to join in and do a quick role play? We got to be wrapping up here really quickly, but if you want to come on screen, you certainly may. Oh, oh, maybe not. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and then get things wrapped up. Let me find my other screen. I'm working on about 10 different screens here. So final tips and takeaways for today. You definitely want to show your curiosity. You want to be professional. You want to be honest. And talking more with us helps you learn more as well as to stand out more. It is also possible just to start small. You can start with one small question via email or, a chat, whatever way you would like to do that. And then as you go on, you're going to gain more confidence as you engage with more and more international advisors. So make sure that you are doing that and making the most of those interactions with us. It means a lot to you. It means a lot to us. And I just encourage you to go out there now and make the most of this WebiFair and any other options that you have coming up for interacting with universities. So with that, I am going to go. Do we have any questions at this point? Real quickly, we could take a question or two. You can put things in the chat if you wish. Well, thank you, Victor. Appreciate that. All right. Well, in that case, I am going to go and let you start enjoying the WebiFair. Go and talk to everyone you can. Ask those good questions. Take good notes. Follow up afterwards. All right. So thank you all very much. I'm sending you a head on out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you for presenting and sharing all that